I'd like to welcome all of our friends and colleagues, especially the California Department of Fish and Wildlife Service, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. We stand here united to launch the Southern California Confiscation Network, a collaborative effort that exemplifies the power of partnerships, compassion, and dedication in safeguarding our planet's precious wildlife. Illegal wildlife trafficking, whether driven by profit or personal gain, has devastating consequences for our environment and biodiversity. It is a global issue that puts countless species at the brink of extinction. The effect of these activities ripples through ecosystems and threatens the delicate balance of life on Earth. This is why we are here today. Accredited zoos and aquariums like the Los Angeles Zoo and our members in the Association of Zoos and Aquariums are vital players in fighting against illegal wildlife trafficking. We possess unique qualifications to provide a safe haven for animals that are confiscated by law enforcement agencies under any circumstances. What may not be commonly known is the role that accredited zoos play in providing a critical resource for these enforcement situations. To bring my words to life, please allow me to introduce you to a remarkable example. This critically endangered radiated tortoise here came to the Los Angeles Zoo in 1998. He was one of 11 confiscated by agents from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service alongside dozens of other reptiles that were critically endangered. Through initial intensive veterinary support and the care of our incredible reptile team, he is thriving and healthy today. He embodies the important work that we do, symbolizing our unwavering commitment to animals who are subjected to the illegal wildlife trafficking trade. And there are 50 other animals right here at the Los Angeles Zoo that each have their own confiscation story. Today is the day of hope, collaboration, and renewed determination. Together with the Southern California Wildlife Confiscations Network, we stand as protectors of this planet's biodiversity and experts in caring for endangered species whose existence is threatened on a daily basis by illegal wildlife trafficking enterprises. To hear more about our vital effort, it is my great pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, Dan Ash.
Thank you, Denise, and good morning. And before coming to the Association of Zoos and Aquariums 7 years ago, I spent 22 years with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, including 6 years as the director of the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. So it's a real honor to see my former friends and colleagues from the service and from California Department of Fish and Wildlife here today. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed." And today we're launching the Southern California Wildlife Confiscations Network, a first-of-its-kind partnership between the Association of Zoos and Aquariums and the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, a hallmark of cooperation and innovation in the global fight against a prominent and pernicious aspect of human greed, wildlife trafficking. We often think of wildlife trafficking as something that it happens in faraway places like Africa or Asia or Australia, but it's very, very much an American problem as well. Sophisticated criminal networks and syndicates have built illegal wildlife trade into a multi-billion-dollar-a-year criminal enterprise, a transnational business dedicated to wildlife crime, destabilizing communities, destroying livelihoods, and helping to drive our global crisis of extinction. And Southern California is in the eye of the storm, an epicenter for the illegal trade of wild animals, often smuggled for the illegal pet trade, regularly moving through ports of entry. And while each law enforcement confiscation is unique, the suffering and the cruelty inflicted on the animals involved is shared, and it's staggering. Smuggled animals are plucked from their natural habitats and their social communities, and they're transported across national and international boundaries in inhumane and unsanitary conditions. Survivors often reach ports and borders needing critical and highly specialized veterinary care, the kind of care that can only be provided by professionals at places like the Los Angeles Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Until now, agents have had to rely on informal contacts and relationships with local zoos, aquariums, sanctuaries, and wildlife rescue facilities. And that arrangement has worked to a degree, saving the lives of many animals and leading to many successful criminal prosecutions. But it's highly inefficient, and increasingly it's ineffective against these sophisticated criminal syndicates, leaving agents with limited choices, overburdening care facilities, prolonging animal suffering, and the pursuit of and the prosecution of criminals. And the problem is growing. Between 2015 and 2019, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service had to place nearly 50,000 illegally trafficked animals linked to almost 800 criminal referrals. Enter the Southern California Wildlife Confiscation Network. The network manages a hotline that serves as a central point of contact for law enforcement needing assistance when a trafficked animal is discovered. At its launch, the network has 18 regional partner facilities that will provide a pool of placement options and expertise to assist wildlife law enforcement professionals. The network brings together zoos, aquariums, non-government organizations, universities, accredited facilities of the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife as key partners in assuring high standards in placing and caring for confiscated wildlife. Each network participant is thoroughly vetted by a panel of experts to determine facility capabilities and to ensure wildlife receives the best possible care. Network participants will work closely with law enforcement to maintain confidentiality in ongoing cases, as well as provide specialized subject matter expertise from the moment of confiscation. Focused now on seizures at ports of entry in Southern California and the southern border, our goal is to take the Wildlife Confiscation Network nationwide. And so what we do here will help us tackle larger national and international issues of criminal trafficking. This effort marks a milestone in our enduring commitment to the well-being of wild animals and to stepping up the fight against this criminal scourge of wildlife trafficking. AZA members like the Cabrillo Aquarium and Aquarium of the Pacific are experts in animal care. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the California Department of Wildlife, Fish and Wildlife are experts in law enforcement and criminal prosecution. Together, we're going to make a difference. We're going to fight criminal trafficking of wild animals, and we're going to save animals from extinction. Thank you. And it's now my privilege, as I said, as a 22-year former career employee of the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to introduce the next speaker, Manissa Kung, who is the special agent in charge here in Los Angeles and representative of the law enforcement professionals who are going to help make this confiscations network work. Thank you. Manissa.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Manissa Kung. I'm a special agent in charge with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Office of Law Enforcement here in the Pacific Southwest region. On behalf of the service, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. First off, I'd like to acknowledge our partners, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, the Los Angeles Zoo, and the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance for your dedication to wildlife welfare and conservation. And thank you to you, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, for your continued partnership in safeguarding the integrity of our ports and borders. Today is truly an exciting day. We're here to celebrate the launch of the Wildlife Confiscations Network here in Southern California, a network streamlined to save time and energy, and most importantly, to provide victims of wildlife trafficking with a better chance of survival. The illegal trade is a billion-dollar industry, and although it may seem like a remote issue, it affects all of our lives. Not only is it a threat to animal and plant species around the world, it also increases the potential to spread disease. Wildlife trafficking is often tied to other serious crimes. It fuels criminal networks, and it impacts the security of our national and partner interests. Southern California sees a high volume of wildlife products as home to a border city and several major ports of entry for international travel. In 2022, the Port of Los Angeles was the busiest port for wildlife and wildlife products, with 24,000 shipments coming through. Our law enforcement officers, our wildlife inspectors, criminal investigators, and our partners with California Department of Fish and Wildlife are charged with detecting illegally transported wildlife, removing it from the hands of traffickers, and immediately beginning thorough and oftentimes complex investigations, all while ensuring the animals are cared for until their permanent placement can be determined. Trafficked wildlife are often shipped in very inhumane conditions. These animals are usually found in poor health, having been confined and concealed in ways that prevent them from moving, eating or feeding, or drinking, and subjected to extreme temperatures and shipping conditions. Once seized by law enforcement, these animals often need urgent care. And through this immense collaboration and partnerships, the Southern California Wildlife Confiscations Network was born. The Wildlife Confiscations Network enables our law enforcement officers to focus on investigations, finding and prosecuting the criminals, knowing that the animals will be placed and receive proper care from reputable professional experts, such as the Los Angeles Zoo, the San Diego Zoo, and other AZA facilities. The network is a collaborative success. It's a testament to what can be accomplished through partnerships and underscores the service's mission to work with others to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, and plants. Together, we can commit to combating illegal wildlife trafficking and protect imperiled species for the future. Thank you. Next, I would like to present Lisa Peterson with the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. It's such an important day, and we're thrilled to share it with all of you. Bringing people together is often the most complex aspect of the work that we all do, but it's also the most important. We are all conservationists, and we share the same passion to protect the world that we all share. I'm honored to be here as part of this special announcement on behalf of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, which includes the San Diego Zoo Safari Park and the San Diego Zoo. At AZA Zoo and Aquariums, conservation is at the heart of everything that we do, and it all starts with a connection to nature, reminding us of the relationship between people, wildlife, and the ecosystems that we all share. The world's plants and animals are incredibly resilient in nature, but they are also at risk due to habitat fragmentation, the changing climate, and in some cases, human decision-making can place them in harm's way through illegal wildlife trafficking. For years, many of us have worked together to help wildlife in dire need, and today's announcement of the Southern California Wildlife Confiscation Network helps us to be that much more effective in those critical moments. Our first role to help combat illegal wildlife trade is to help people to understand that plants and animals are not collectibles and they're not pets. They should be cherished for the beauty and vibrancy that they offer the planet that we all share, and for the myriad of important roles they play, which helps sustain critical biodiversity that we all depend on. By engaging with our communities on the impacts of wildlife trafficking, we have the opportunity to reduce demand for wildlife products and root out the incentives for trafficking. Unfortunately, we are seeing a rise in wildlife trafficking, and those with close proximity to the border, like the LAZoo and the San Diego Zoo and San Diego Zoo Safari Park, we assist with wildlife confiscations. And all too often, we get those late night calls, another tragic situation of wildlife caught in the middle and desperately needing our help. In these difficult moments, we see it as our responsibility to be ready, to provide the best possible care and and make sure that they can access their individual needs, give them opportunities to experience environments that reflect their natural habitats, and when appropriate, the complex social dynamics critical to their well-being. A few years ago, we were fortunate to be able to assist with Mocha. He's a tiger, and he was rescued at the California-Mexico border. He was brought to the safari park for immediate attention and care. Mocha, which means chance, became an inspiring story for the San Diego community, illustrating the intricacies, expertise, and complex partnerships that are needed to truly care for wildlife. Today, Mocha is thriving. This success story illuminates the critically important role of associated zoos and aquariums in providing world-class care for wildlife and responding in a moment's notice. We are honored to serve in this role as stewards of the world's wildlife. This new Southern California Wildlife Confiscation Network is only possible because of the collaborative spirit that exists among conservationists, all working on behalf of wildlife. I'd like to thank AZA and the members of its Wildlife Trafficking Alliance. Together, we can continue to make a difference for wildlife and inspire millions to love and conserve nature. I'd also like to thank our colleagues at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. In so many instances, they are the first responders for wildlife in need. And their decisive actions make a difference for both plants and animals that are caught up in illegal wildlife trafficking. Thank you for this opportunity to be here with all of you as we announce this innovative new partnership to the world. Together, we can make a difference for wildlife, and we can all create a world where life thrives. Thank you. I'd like to invite Denise back up, and she's going to wrap us up.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you to Dan and Manissa, all of our colleagues here that have joined us. This is a historic day. This network was a dream many, many years ago. Took lots of planning, collaboration, meetings, and a lot of different agencies from different levels within the government and our partners. And so to be here today to make this announcement, it's such a huge accomplishment that we should all be proud of on behalf of wildlife and the species that we work to protect day in and day out. So thank you all for joining us. And if you would like to see some of the other animals that we have to share with you that have been part of the confiscations and illegal wildlife trafficking, we have carts that can take you to see some of those animals. So if you're interested, please join us outside the gates, and thank you again for coming.